Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, good morning on this hump day. No longer 2/22/22. We all survived that, thank God. Even though Pluto is coming home to the United States. Very concerned about that. Welcome into the show today. We got some fun for you. Brian Bradley's going to join us at 11:50. We finally have Lightning hockey back tonight. First time in 3 weeks, we will be over at Am Arena tonight doing a gig along with Greg Wolf and that entire fabulous Lightning team, who I'm sure will probably sleepwalk through the first period tonight at 7 to get down 2-0 and come back for a rousing victory, probably in overtime. There, I said it. They've been off a lot, and now the next 60 days, they're going to have 31 games leading up to the playoffs, which is obviously a complex schedule as well. So they're going to be playing basically games every other night for the next, hopefully, 4 months. Yikes. Well, I mean, they feel really well-rested now. But wow, good luck to that. Nick Geddes joins me here from Outkick.com. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm recharged, sort of say, after a long night of coverage yesterday of the USFL draft.
You're on the USFL beat for Outkick?
Yeah, that kind of become my beat for Outkick. So I was heavy on that last night going into the middle of the night. So I'm a little sleepy this morning.
I know. I saw something come across my phone. I was like, my daughter is the number one pick of the USFL? No, it's Shea Patterson.
Very close.
Not Shea Peterson. It's Shea Patterson. Yeah. Although I think they both have about equal chance to
same draw
move the needle. Unimpressive draft. I mean, there's not a whole lot of names that you've ever heard of. I remember the XFL, like almost every quarterback you'd heard of.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I mean, I've been covering this now for like the past 2 months as they've been doing all these announcements, and I'm learning the most obscure things in the most obscure colleges coming out of this.
Like?
Occidental College.
Occidental College, yes.
Brian,
know it well.
Yeah. Division III. And they drafted the Philadelphia Stars. His name's Brian Scott, and apparently his nickname is the Aaron Rodgers of Division III.
Oh, that's exciting.
I guess it's exciting, but yeah.
Is he going to do a Punta Cara cleanse like Mr. Rogers did? Whatever the hell that is. Did you hear about this?
I have heard a little bit about it, yeah.
We're going to run that down and run it out a little bit later on in the show. It involves inducing violent vomiting to clean your upper GI. Oh, it gets worse from there.
These are the things that Aaron Rodgers is doing in his free time?
12-day cleanse. It's disgusting on so many levels. And that's why he said he came out with that post, because he was just, had to cleanse himself of gratitude, just to send that out into the world.
I don't even know what to say to that. I don't even know what to say to that.
He's a complicated fellow. Let's just say that. Let's just say he's a complicated fellow. And, to me, the biggest thing that's going on with Aaron Rodgers now. By the way, Brian Bradley, 11:15. Mike Nabors going to join us at 10:30. We're going to talk a little Saints football. We haven't talked to him since he correctly predicted that Dennis Allen would get the head coaching gig in New Orleans. So we'll talk to him about where the Saints are, and also the handshake line. Mike Bianchi wrote a nice column about that from the Orlando Sentinel, and Mike Nabors chimed in, and we talked about this yesterday. So we'll revisit that. So we'll chat with him, and of course, Nick and I will have all kinds of incredible information to give you as well. And John Cooper and some of the boys, we'll hear from them in advance of tonight's game and the big outdoor game this week. So we're all set. You got your tickets, right? I got my tickets. Where are you guys sitting?
I'm going to be, I think, 3 rows from the bottom, kind of on like the corner there.
Nice.
So I went big. If I was going to that game and I was going to be in that cold, I was not sitting up top.
No, it wasn't that cold up there.
Yeah, I wasn't out.
Be down where it's a little less windy.
Yeah, and I think I might be in front of where Miranda is setting up.
Oh, really?
I'm hoping.
Well, what section are you in?
What is it, like 118, 117? It's something down there.
Okay. Yeah. Now the Lightning section, I think, is going to be in the corner where we got our tickets. We're actually behind the goal, right behind the goal, on the lower level, like 20 rows up. But that's well back. I can't. These seats are going to be far from the ice.
Oh, I don't know how much we're going to see.
I don't know if we're going to see anything.
I don't know.
We'll be watching it on the big board.
It's the experience. What I'm concerned about, I don't think Nissan Stadium has a big board in each end zone.
It has to. It has to.
Nissan
Stadium is very similar to Raymond James, like almost exactly the same. Very without the ship, of course.
Yeah.
No, I think they were designed almost exactly the same.
Well, I'm hoping so. I'm hoping so.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a spectacle to be had. But it's looks like the weather's going to be in the mid-20s. They're getting cold. Some rain and snow right now.
Yeah.
But that's part of it. I don't want it to be 80. I don't think the guys making the ice want it to be 80 either. So we're gonna do a little Broadway, get some concerts going on. So it should be a really, really fun weekend. I'm looking forward to that. And we'll be reporting back to you on Monday on that. All right, so I'm going to get into a little bit of before we get to Lightning, I want to dive into this Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady thing because it occurs to me that next season, the two best quarterbacks, the 1-2 guys in the MVP race, right, are going to voluntarily not play. In Aaron Rodgers' case, forego $46 million to not play coming off an MVP. And Tom Brady is going to not play coming off what should have been an MVP and he's going to not play, where he's talking what, $25-30 million. Now, listen, I know that to both of these guys, that's not what it is to everybody else. It's still a significant amount of money. That's a lot of freaking money. And you're telling me both these guys are going to retire. I don't buy it. I'll buy it for a second. Rick Stroud was on with Colin Cowherd yesterday, and Colin asked him about, is there any rift between Brady and the organization? I don't even want to characterize it anymore as Brady versus Arians because I think that's not. I don't think that's fair to either one, or maybe even accurate for that much. But he said he didn't buy that there was any rift between Brady and the organization. Except to say that there's, there obviously is going to be disagreements. And I agree with that. I would be a little bit more, skeptical about, I think there's no question that there was trouble there. There was smoke there. There's too many reports out there now. And just because Bruce Arians comes out and says, he wasn't changing the game plans, which I believe him, and he has every right to come in there and add to a game plan. He's the freaking head coach. But when you drill it down, to me, and I kind of half jokingly said this yesterday, maybe Tom Brady is the villain here. And again, I don't think there's any villains here, but I think that Brady is very much operating in his self-interest, very much in his own self-interest. I think Aaron Rodgers is operating very much in his own self-interest because while he professes all this love to all these other players and his teammates and everybody else, him waffling on his decision brings him leverage. Number one, the longer he brings it out, the more leverage he has because the Packers want to know what the hell they're doing. They can't do other contracts with his teammates that he supposedly loves if he's not telling them what he's going to do. And he needs to tell them what he's going to do. And he's, look, I get it. You want to take your time. You want to make sure you have all the answers. But to me, what I think Brady and Rodgers are both doing is trying to gain as much leverage as they can to be able to go where they want to go. And while they have every right to do so, to sit here in kind of, to say that this is such a these are team guys that are all about their teammates and everybody else. Well, that's not really true. Because if Brady wants to play again, and I think he does, I think he will play again. Then if he wants to play in Tampa Bay or he wants to play anywhere, the Bucs are going to have a say in that. They own his rights, and they're not just going to give him for nothing. And if that's what he's expecting and trying to get leverage to do it, well, again, that's in his self-interest. It needs to be recognized as so. Not saying it's a bad thing, not saying that, he's doing it the wrong way, but let's just recognize it for what it is. And I think Aaron Rodgers is very much in the same space. So while a lot of the platitudes are being thrown and all this as well, they should in some cases, we also have to recognize that these two guys are being kind of selfish when it comes to what their careers, because what their decisions means so much more for everybody else, including the Buccaneers. And if Tom does end up playing, then we'd like to know why it's not in Tampa Bay. And if he comes back and plays here to get the best team around him, he needs to let the Bucs know now. Now, I believe it was Stroud wrote the article today about Blaine Gabbert. And, I have said from time to time, I'd like to see what this guy's got, to be quite honest. He's 32 years old. He was the 10th overall pick in the draft many years ago, had 8 coaches and 8 coordinators in his first 8 years. His career record is, I think, 13-35, 50 touchdowns, 47 interceptions. But, don't forget, he's 6'5". He's 235 pounds. He can throw the ball downfield. I don't know how well he reads the field and can handle the pressure and everything else. We haven't seen him play regularly since 2017. It's a long time. Does he have the talent to do it? Yeah, I think he does, but there's so much more involved. He knows the system, so
I'm not buying this.
You're not buying
I'm not buying it. We could sit here and we could try to convince ourselves, and we could talk into an existence that Blaine Gabbert could be the guy. He's been in the league for a decade. If he was so talented, somebody would have figured it out by now. Yeah, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I look at it as nothing from you're taking steps back. I understand it's hard to replace Tom Brady, but the answer is not let's just roll out his backup for the past 2 years.
Well, I think if they do that, then they have a sense that Brady's coming back. Like Scott Reynolds said yesterday.
That's the only way I can see.
Yeah, I think that's what this is setting up. You're leaving the door open for Brady to come back. You're sensing that, once, he gets over it, being butthurt about AB and how that was handled, and he really wants to play, he's going to realize that the best place for him to be is Tampa Bay. And by the way, the Bucs hold those cards. So it's, it's kind of it may come down to, all right, we're going to take a calculate. First of all, what are the options? All right. We've talked about this. If the Seattle Seahawks want 3 first-round picks, Devin White and, Antonio Winfield, no, sorry, not doing it. Not doing it. As much as I want Russell Wilson, you can't, you are setting up to just gut your team. That's a tough play. It's a tough play. It would be, I would think long and hard about it, but that's a lot of compensation. And if Russell Wilson gets hurt and can't play, then you're screwed for another 3-4 years. That's a huge investment. And Jimmy Garoppolo, I'm sorry, I'd rather go with Blaine Gabbert than Jimmy Garoppolo. Because I know what Garoppolo is. I know what his ceiling is. He can't throw the ball downfield.
Yeah, his ceiling is getting you to a Super Bowl or close to it.
But he with a great team around him, and he hasn't been able to put him over the top.
Bucs don't have a great team around him.
They do, but
Blaine Gabbert's winning. I hope everybody realizes that
Blaine Garoppolo is also winning with a 58% completion percentage, dumping it down. You go turn on the tape. You could say the team's winning, but turn on the tape. The guy has a low ceiling. He's not going to win you a Super Bowl.
And Blaine Gabbert is?
No, I'm not saying we don't know that. We don't know that.
Blaine Gabbert's winning you 7 games max. I don't care
you don't
what
know
the
that.
roster.
You said that about Tannehill, probably. Because he with the Dolphins.
Listen, I didn't be back then, but I was a big Ryan Tannehill fan. Okay, let the record show. But no, Jimmy Garoppolo. I hear that argument all the time about you might as well just go with Blaine Gabbert instead of Jimmy Garoppolo.
I don't see much difference.
There's a big difference. There's such a big difference. For as much as Jimmy Garoppolo may be middle of the road from a talent standpoint, he's way more talented than Blaine Gabbert.
Blaine Gabbert's got a better arm.
I don't care that he has a better arm. There's a lot of guys that he has a better arm than.
When I watch Garoppolo play, I see nothing special. I see nothing special in the guy. Plus, he's hurt all the time.
I see winner. That's what I see.
I think a lot of people could win games with that team, with throwing the ball 14 times and handing it off to Deebo Samuel who runs for 200 yards. A lot of guys can do that. But I think with Gabbert, you also do leave the door open for a Brady return. And I think, honestly, of all the options, that might be your best one. Because, if you can get Russell Wilson, I would almost pay anything for him. That what I described might be a little bit too much, but I'd almost pay anything for him. After that, Deshaun Watson, I don't think is really an option here. I think that's just a smoke screen for leverage. I mean, where are we going to go to Carson Wentz? Jimmy Garoppolo.
If it's down to those two or Blaine Gabbert, it's an easy decision for me.
It's Blaine Gabbert / Brady comeback.
I can't bank on that though.
No, you can't.
I have to look at it from.
But what about with July? If you've moved on to Jimmy Garoppolo, okay,
yeah,
and Brady said, "I want to come back,"
he can come back.
No, you've already spent the money on Garoppolo. You can't fit him under the cap. It's too late.
The cap is a myth.
No, you can't. You're not going to be able to do what because you've already given up compensation for Garoppolo, whatever that might be.
It's not going to be
first
a lot.
round pick, whatever. That's what the 49ers want, and then you're sitting there going, "Oh my God, if we'd just been patient, we could have got Brady." I mean, I wish Brady would be, I know that he may not know. I get it. He may be being very honest. Is like I just don't know. But I really sense that he's going to come back and play one more year. And if I'm the Bucs, I might gamble and just say, okay, we're going to turn it over to Gabbert and Trask. And if we have a feeling, would it be 50, 60, 70%, 20% that Brady might come back? I think you roll the dice and take that chance. I think you do because the other options south of Russell Wilson, I'm not interested.
I'm not. I'm just not. As much as I love Tom Brady and I love for him to just say today or tomorrow I'm coming back, I'm not playing that waiting game. I'm not playing this what if game for the entire season. And then when he doesn't come back, what happens if he doesn't come back? Then you're stuck with Blaine Gabbert for this year.
Or stuck with Jimmy Garoppolo. Or stuck with Carson Wentz.
I don't think you're stuck with those guys because they have a track record of actually doing something in this league. Blaine Gabbert has a track. You said it. What, 13-35?
But we're not a team that's going to with Garoppolo. We're not the team that's going to run the ball 45 times. That's not what Arians does. And to win with Jimmy Garoppolo, it's what you got to do. I'd rather have Jameis Winston than Jimmy Garoppolo.
I mean, hell, that's not a bad option to me either.
Yeah,
we're just dismissing that option. If we're going to come down to it, I'd rather have Jameis Winston over Blaine Gabbert any day of the week.
Yeah,
I mean,
I would.
He's probably the same kind of thrower as Blaine Gabbert, but way more talented. We'd agree.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's an option, by all means, I'll take that. I'm just telling you right now, if a Bucs fan's going to try to sit here and try to convince me that Blaine Gabbert should be the quarterback, taking Tom Brady out of the equation, but that's the whole point. The whole point you don't put Gabbert in and not have Brady in the equation. So that's the whole point. So
of
how does that
Gabbert.
work? How does that work?
You sign him to a $5 million deal. And you have plenty of cap space open if Brady wants to come back.
But how does that? What I mean by how does it work? Is Brady going to tell them like, "Hey, y'all go with Blaine for a little bit. I'll decide. Keep me in the plan." Is that how that's working? Or are they just going to go under the assumption that hey, we can communicate with Tom in week 4 when things are going bad?
You could. I mean, you got to get a sense for where he's at. You got to listen. Just looking at Brady, how well he played, and knowing how competitive he is. And the fact that he's still at the top of the game. I'm just not buying the fact that the two best quarterbacks in this league are going to both voluntarily sit on the sidelines next year and not play for $46 million. That's bullshit. It's not happening.
I think Rodgers.
It's not freaking happening.
I think Rodgers has a way better chance of returning, though, than Brady. I don't think it's even. I don't think Brady has Rodgers has a way better chance of returning, as far as I'm concerned.
So you're completely convinced that Brady's not going to play again? Because that puts you in the minority because everybody else in the league, everybody else that knows Tom Brady, everybody else that's been covering him forever thinks that he's probably coming back.
I'll ride in the minority on that.
Okay.
I will. I mean, I'd love for it to happen. Okay. I'm not saying I'm not rooting for it to happen. Again, if it happened today, I'd be the happiest person in the world. I just cannot, like I've said many times, I cannot see him doing that. The way I understand there's the things out there, no press conference, he has to retire. But that's Tom Brady playing the game, I think. Just the same way that Aaron Rodgers is playing the game.
Trying to gain leverage to be able to go wherever he wants. If he decides I just can't work with Tampa Bay or I just want to go, I want to play in San Francisco. I don't buy the fact that he's going to go to a new team and learn a new playbook. I don't buy that at all because remember he said about that first year how hard it was learning the playbook and all that stuff. He doesn't want to go through that again. No way. If he's going to come back and play, it's going to be here. And look, if all these rumors are true, all these things that we've been talking about, and so many people reporting it now, so many, not just me, but Albert Breer, Pelissaro, Girardi, all these longtime NFL reporters, all reporting the same stuff, that there was a rift between Brady and the organization, or whatever the hell you want to call it. And in the short term, it may have been the reason why he said, I don't want to play anymore. Okay. And now they know in the long term, when, Giselle finally gets sick of him being around the house, and he gets sick of being around the kids. And just like Gradkowski told us last week, it's when the football stuff starts coming around that you really, really start missing it. When the OTAs start coming around, and maybe not training camp, but when you're getting close to the game starting, that's when he's going to miss it the most. And if you're, having a placeholder in Blaine Gabbert, and don't forget, we drafted Kyle Trask. Those two can compete for the starting job. And Kyle Trask was every bit as good as Mac Jones in the SEC. So
if I'm going to roll with Blaine Gabbert and Kyle Trask, I'd rather see Kyle Trask playing quarterback at that point. At least we're going to see something from a developmental standpoint.
I don't disagree with that.
To me, you're just treading water if you go with Blaine Gabbert. You're just treading water. And when you have a win now roster like the Bucs do, that's what I just can't accept, is going that far behind. I can't. I'd rather do what San Francisco is probably going to end up doing and just go with Trey Lance and their great roster, see what they have. I'd rather go that route. I really would.
Yeah, I think in this league, you got to have a great distributor of the ball, a great quarterback, and we don't know if Kyle Trask is going to be that guy, but we honestly don't know how much Blaine Gabbert has matured and how well he can play in a system like this. We just don't know. We don't know. I've seen him in practice. He looks great in practice. That's practice. I mean, he's got all the physical tools. Could he be another Ryan Tannehill? Who knows? But if there's a smidge of an opportunity, and I think there is, then that's that. If the Bucs do go that way, that's what they're banking on. They won't say it publicly, but that's what they're banking on.
Yeah,
with the options.
I just see it going south real quick. We already talked about the Bucs schedule too. I mean, I see it going south real quick.
Oof. Yeah, that's interesting. All right, do we have some great audio from Aaron Rodgers?
We do yesterday from Mr. Pat McAfee.
I think most of anything I want to hear him talk about the cleanse.
Which one is the cleanse?
I don't know.
Does it have to be him talking about the gratitude then?
Did he get in specifics about the cleanse? All right, we'll talk about that later. I love stuff like this. It's very interesting to me.
It's very weird to me, but we'll listen to him here.
All right,
your post last night, everybody's like, "Oh, this is a cryptic message meaning
show.
something." Like, why do you think that is the case, Aaron? Honestly, do you think about that with everything you say and do? Do you have to think about that?
I don't think about that before I post something like that, and I think, unless you've gone through certain experiences and had frustration and been near the bottom and then get near the top and understand the in life, and I think then you might say things about that. That's a cryptic message. I mean, there's nothing cryptic about gratitude. I just came out of a 12-day cleanse where you're eating a specific diet and you're going through these treatments every day, and you're not really doing anything else. You got to kind of turn everything else off, and so you're not working out, you're not straining or anything. It's kind of a recentering. And it not only heals you physically, but I think it takes away mental stress. And then the spiritual part, I think it allows you to kind of enjoy the meditations a little bit more. So when I come out, my first thought is just intense gratitude for the people in my life. And that's not every person in my life that I mentioned. And there's other people to highlight in the credit. But that was just where I was at. I was going through some old pictures from the last year and felt an intense amount of gratitude for the life that I have and for the lessons that I've learned and the growth that's happened over the last year and the people who've been a part of that journey.
I think it's a great jump-off point for the recap of the year, because one of the photos was actually the last photo, and it was a photo of Randall Cobb and then a space and then Davante Adams. And the internet, obviously, and the people who are your detractors were saying, "Oh, this means he's done, he's gone." And it sounds like you legitimately do not have your decision yet, although you might be leaning one way or another. You're a human. In my eyes, when I saw this photo, it was you actually saying thanks to them for thinking about you when you weren't there. Am I wrong in reading that, or is that exactly why you posted that? Is that it?
First of all, you're exactly right. And full transparency, when I got that message, I cried. When I got that photo from Randall and Davante, it brought tears to my eyes, because that's my guy standing before the game, right? Randall's always on my right, Tays on my left, and I embraced with both of them after the anthem. And it's a part of the pregame ritual, but also just a statement about friendship and love and the connection that we have collectively and individually in our own friendships. And, you know, they held space and opened spot for me the game I missed because of my positive COVID test. And that got me, man. And that's one of my favorite photos from the year. It really is, because it just shows the love and how special each of those moments are. So that's one of my all-time favorite photos. And the thought that went into doing that was, man, deeply moving to me. And especially with, you know, how crazy that week was, to get that photo after the game from them it got me.
Why does everybody hate this guy?
I was thinking that the entire time.
Like, he's talking about peace and love and gratitude. He's not talking about, you know, all the other bullshit that's going on in this world right now. I mean, I hate to say it, as much you may hate Aaron Rodgers, but we need more people like that are meditating, contemplating, mindfulness,
I will say,
peace,
like,
love, gratitude. What's wrong with any of that?
I will say, like, he's definitely one of the best, like, probably quarterbacks or even players in general that I've heard like articulate that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you know, when Brady says it kind of comes off as like he kind of like trips over his words a little bit, and it kind of feels like he doesn't sound like this guy.
You mean when he's rattling off 35 meaningless cliches in a row?
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's more like a cliche.
So we love that guy for the 35 meaningless cliches, but this guy we hate, talking about gratitude and spirituality and love and peacefulness and helping other people. So that I take the peace and love guy.
So
way better than the
so you're saying
35 cliche guy.
So you're down to trade the 3 first-round picks to Green Bay now? Are you
thinking about it?
Are you flipped on it?
Thinking about it. Well, let's just say from a football standpoint, would you want Aaron Rodgers playing on this team?
I mean, yeah, absolutely.
Of course you would.
You could hate him all you want. I mean,
well, what's the hate about that, bro? What's the hate about that?
Nothing to hate about that soundbite, but there's plenty of other sound bites where he could be very condescending and passive aggressive, but I mean,
to a lot of people that are being aggressive to him for what? For what? Because he didn't take it to the vaccine. I'm aware.
Yeah,
but we're learning more and more about that now, aren't we? As some people are actually allowed to speak about that. Yes.
My takeaway from that, though, does that sound like a guy who's leaving Green Bay, though?
No,
it does not. It does not.
No.
He looks like he's patched everything up with the organization.
He's talking about Brian and calling them by their first name.
They gave him Randall Cobb back this year, who he loves playing with. Everybody makes a big deal about how are they going to bring all these guys back, right? That's why he's going to leave. This morning they've already started restructuring their biggest contracts, so they're making a big push to get everybody back together.
And I think and guess what? If they do, they're going to be the odds-on favorite to win the NFC, because I don't know what the Rams have coming. Like, I don't know how they're going to restructure a lot of the guys that they have. I don't know if they can keep the band together. And as we saw, winning 2 in a row is tough. It's really, really tough. That hasn't been done since when?
2 in a row?
Yeah.
Did Denver win 2 back-to-back in 97 and 98?
Yeah. That's what it was.
I have to say that was probably it.
By the way, the Panchakarma cleanse. All right. So it's a 5-step detox process that cleanses the body of all unwanted waste out of the body. Many have reported that the cleanse heals the digestive system, enhances immunity. There you go. Produces deep relaxation and a meditative outlook on life, among other things. Vomit. Administration of emetic drugs that induce a severe spell of vomiting to clean the upper gut. Or as we call it, tequila shots on Tuesday. Right?
There you go.
Varichin. Forced diarrhea that purges and cleanses the bowel. Forced diarrhea. All righty. Basti.
Diarrhea.
The next process is Basti. Medicated enema used to cleanse the accumulated toxins through the colon. Have you ever had an enema?
No.
Oh, you haven't lived?
No.
Then comes the Nasya, which is the nasal administration of medicated oil to cleanse the accumulated toxins that are up there in your nasal cavity.
I take it back. I don't want them. I don't want him. We're not bringing this witchcraft to our team here. That's all that sounds like.
Wait, we are not done. The Rakta Mashkara. And I didn't say that right. The Rakta Mokshana. Rakta Mokshana. A procedure done to cleanse the blood. So that must be some type of like dialysis.
And let's keep in mind, okay?
That's a lot of cleansing.
During
this
cleanse, his engagement got called off. Let's keep that in mind.
Well, if you're vomiting and forcing diarrhea and doing medical enemas, medicated, maybe she called it off.
I mean, she's the one that's the weirdo. I think this was her like idea to make him cleanse. This is like her kind of thing.
Well, he cleansed of her too, I guess.
He did.
Did he not?
I heard the other way
so
around.
He broke the relationship off, and then had all this gratitude that he put out there in the ethos.
He said that, I think he had a soundbite in there with McAfee where he's like, it's not a coincidence that I won MVP the 2 years that I was with her, because he was so like relaxed at home, and it allowed him to go out there and do everything more like smoother, he said. So that was him like expressing his like gratitude for her with how much she like calmed him down.
So who broke it off, her or him?
I don't know.
We don't know that.
I don't know. We're going to have to look at TMZ or something. I'm sure they have a scoop on it.
All right, let's do that. All right, we'll do that in the break. When we come back, Mike Nabors is going to join us, and he's an expert on the Chakarma cleanse. So we'll ask him how his experience went when he did it. Or we'll talk about the Saints and the handshake line. When we come back. Hey, folks, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center, a very different kind of approach to primary care. Personalized preventative medicine, not a one-pill-fits-all mentality. Christopher Lugo and his experienced medical staff are proactive in looking at issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle. Rather than the impersonal rushed approach, you will be the only patient and will have our full attention. That's new. Getting old is inevitable, but feeling and looking old is avoidable. Bay Area Modern Medical Centers are experts in anti-aging regenerative medicine that optimizes your body's performance in many areas. So call for an appointment to get started on a journey back to full health and a happy life with a new, modern way of healthcare. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. JP here for my friend, attorney Christopher Palermo. If you are having issues with a claim on your homeowner's insurance from a sinkhole, storm damage, water intrusion, defective stucco, and construction defects, or any other issue, Christopher is your man. These big insurance companies didn't get rich paying out what you deserve. Chris founded his practice in 2009 with a passion to help all Floridians with disputes where they were forced to take on the powerful and needed a champion in their corner. Chris wants to make sure you will receive the most aggressive and compassionate representations. He has recovered millions in settlements on behalf of his clients facing defective stucco damage and other construction issues. So call Chris, mention the JP Show, and he will give you a free consultation. That's 813-221-5636 or go to PalermoPA.com. He's a fifth generation.
Right now, back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, presented by the law offices of Christopher Palermo. You can reach him at palermopa.com. If you have any issues with sinkholes damage to your house, or you maybe have some of that stucco damage where it cracks and the water gets in, that could be terrible. Water intrusion, and you've been having issues with your homeowner's insurance over claims, Christopher Palermo is your man. He will take care of you. Go to palermopa.com, get a free consultation, tell him JP sent you, and he will kick their ass. All right, let's bring on our next guest, who is the king of the Pancha Karma Cleanse and also covers the Saints and is fed up with this get rid of the handshake line deal. He is the great Mike Nabors. What's up, brother? How are you?
I thought you were going to make the smooth segue and say, speaking of kicking ass, but you missed on that. You went cleanse, not kicking ass. It's okay.
Well, maybe there was a reason for that. Maybe there was a reason.
I'm
maybe
good, brother. How are you?
I'm good. So how are you with the administration of emetic drugs that induce a severe spell of vomiting to clean your upper gut?
Whatever it takes, man. Aaron Rodgers, whatever it takes. I'm just glad the narrative has shifted for the time being, because I have mixed reviews on Aaron Rodgers. I've heard, different people around him with different reactions, but it just shows you how the NFL is king and nobody cares that we're not going to have a baseball season. And we'll talk about Aaron Rodgers every month until August. Yes. We'll keep talking about Aaron Rodgers.
Mike, I just can't believe that the NFL is going to play next year and their two best quarterbacks, the two best players in the league, arguably MVPs, okay, 1, 2, and the MVP, are not going to play voluntarily. Like, they're not because of injury, not because they're no good anymore, because they don't want to play for $46 million or $30 million. I don't buy it. I think they're both going to play. What do you think about that?
Well, it's hard for me to disagree. I think there's a lot of moving parts with both guys. A lot of moving parts.
Yes.
I think Rodgers is going to stay in Green Bay. It's going to be complicated if Brady wants to go play somewhere else. We all know that. And I just think there's so much going on with Tom Brady that we don't know about. But I would be surprised if he plays. I do find it interesting, though, in this market. It's like a scorn lover, though. Man, you had Tom Brady for 2 years. You were dating this great girl, and then she broke up with you. Not that he broke up with you, but you desperately want him back at any cost. That's kind of the parallel I see.
Did break up
and I don't blame Tampa Bay. I don't blame Tampa Bay fans for feeling that way. It was so bad for so long. You had this epic 2 years. You don't want to say goodbye to it. You don't. And You know what? I'm not sure if they will, but it's just so iffy right now. But I would say the odds are he won't come back, but it wouldn't surprise me if he did.
That's why when I look at this quarterback market, first of all, I love Russell Wilson, and I will take him right now, and I'll give up a couple of first-round picks. I'll throw in Devin White, and I'll throw in Kyle Trask. So, I mean, you give them some players, you give them a couple first-round picks.
How kind of you.
Yeah. I mean, I think it'd be nice. I think it'll work well for everybody. They got to rebuild. They're not doing anything with just Russell Wilson. He's just going to get beat up there. Their roster sucks. So that's first case. Now, second case, I'm sorry, I don't want Garoppolo. I don't want Carson Wentz. My next best option would be, you know what? I'm betting that Brady's going to get the itch, and I'm going to sign Gabbert to a $3, $4, $5 million deal, whatever it was. He made 2.5 last year. I got Trask. If I want to start him, I drafted him in the second round. Let's go. Let's get the development going. And if Brady doesn't come back, that's what I'm going to roll with. But I'll take that chance that, come June and July, when he's sick of hanging out with the kids, that he's going to say, I can play one more year. I was going to play one more year anyway. And the best place for me to do that is where I don't have to go learn a new offense. I think he comes back.
Here's the thing with Trask, too. Why are people discounting him? Mac Jones did what he did in New England. I think Trask is every bit as good as Mac Jones.
I agree.
I think he can do the same things. And also, this whole Jimmy Garoppolo, Carson Wentz, I'd almost rather have Blaine Gabbert and Kyle Trask than those guys. I'm not a big Garoppolo guy. I'm not a big Carson. I'd rather have Jameis than those guys, 100%. Frankly.
Just said
I don't think Jameis is coming back. I do think he'll come back to New Orleans. We'll see. I've heard mixed things there as well. But I agree. I would keep Blaine Gabbert played for 8 different offensive coordinators in the first 8 years in the NFL. I'm not saying Blaine Gabbert is the end-all, be-all, but look at guys like Rich Gannon and Brad Johnson. He learned under Tom Brady. He's settling down under Bruce Arians, who was with him in a previous stop in Arizona. So I would stick with Gabbert. I'd stick with Trask and hope he comes back and screw the rest of this stuff.
Yeah, I agree. And do you get any sense of what went on with Brady and this team? There's so much smoke out there, and I'm not saying that it's the reason he retired, but I think it's part of the reason. I do. What do you think?
You know what? I thought it was interesting that Bruce Arians reached out to Rick Stroud, and that's kind of an un-Arians type move.
Yeah.
Mr. I don't really care what the media thinks. I don't care what the public thinks. Like, he really wanted to right a wrong there. I don't know what happened, but to me, that was the outlier, that Bruce Arians would reach out to the media and say, hey, I want to make this clear.
Yeah.
You know, when you feel like you've been wrong, that's what you do. So to me, that spoke volumes of that situation. I think this Brady thing is very complicated. I don't know how he feels about the Bucs. I do think in a perfect world, it's funny that you mentioned Brady and Aaron Rodgers, both California guys. I think both of them would love to play for the 49ers right now, given the fact that team and the Bucs are, they have a good roster too, but the 49ers, they need a quarterback. That's the missing piece, just like it was with the Bucs a couple of years ago. So I don't know if any of us, except Giselle and Tom Brady's dad and his agent and Alex Guerrero, the inner circle, know. Because besides that, there's a lot of guesses. There's a lot of wayward tweets and media reports, and that gets dangerous because the NFL is king right now. But yeah. I agree with you. I wouldn't rule it out. But if I'm a betting man, I would say he's not going to play, but I wouldn't rule it out either.
I think he won't go to San Francisco because he has to learn a whole new offense. Remember how difficult he said that was? I just think he's down for that. Yeah. I think that this is about, he was disappointed about the way the Antonio Brown thing was handled. And I do think there's a little bit to the whole game planning thing. But I said this yesterday. I'd love to get your take on this. You covered, I personally quarterback and coach for a long time in New Orleans. And there's always, even with the best of those relationships, there's going to be some friction. There is. It just is. And if you got Byron Leftwich and Tom Brady doing all the game planning, and then, Arians comes in later and adds some stuff to it, you know what's going to happen when he leaves the room, when dad leaves the room, the kids are going to roll their eyes. That's just kind of the way, right? Just kind of the way it works. And
here's the deal. I mean, it's like these TV angles that we see now that we didn't see 10 years ago. And the ones we saw 10 years ago, we didn't see 20 years ago.
Right.
This stuff has been happening on sidelines, players yelling at coaches, players yelling at players. Remember what a big deal it was when Buddy Ryan got in that fight on the Oilers? And oh my goodness. That's when we started to get more cameras back then. Now we have those cameras. This stuff has been happening for years. I mean, I covered Sean Payton and Drew Brees for 15 years. And, you didn't see it on the field, but there was friction behind the scenes. Of course there is. You have two competitive alpha males who want to win, just like Tom Brady, just like Bruce Arians. It's going to happen. So if there's one little smidge or there's one little story out there, that's what I don't like about social media, is that the headline takes over when it's really a common narrative in life and in the NFL. No doubt about it.
Yeah, and I think it's probably been blown out of proportion, but I do think there was probably some friction. I mean, the offense certainly didn't run great in that last game against the Rams. They thought there was clearly some, I thought, coaching errors, like where was the hurry up offense? Where's the no huddle against the Rams? It wasn't the best performance. It wasn't a whole lot of screens. It wasn't anything they were really doing to attack some of the weaknesses of those Rams defense and just drop back and let that pass rush get after them. It just seemed, not really well thought out. So I don't know. I just think that at some point there was some friction and Arians was being made to be the bad guy. And I asked the question, why is he the bad guy? If he threw AB off the sideline because he didn't want to go back in the game and Tom Brady didn't like it, well, then Tom's wrong. Tom's wrong. And if he's pissed about it, that's on him. Am I wrong with that?
Well, I mean, if you want, well, you know how I feel about AB, and I never wanted that to happen anyway. But the Bruce Arians deal with Tom Brady, we saw the friction line the first year when they won the Super Bowl with Arians calling him out, post game. He didn't make good decisions. I mean, Brady was more blunt. Arians was more blunt about Tom Brady than Bill Belichick was, and we knew there was friction up there.
Right.
So this whole thing, if anybody should have friction, it should be Tom Brady with Todd Bowles, the defense in that game.
I heard that.
I mean, there should be friction there. So I don't buy that. I think there's a lot going on with Tom Brady, and the family dynamic and maybe the California dynamic and the opportunity to play in San Francisco. I'm just throwing stuff out there. I have no basis on any of it. But the problem with the media and social media now is people act like they have sources when those who do have legitimate reports and those who don't just throw it out there, and it becomes fact and it becomes fodder on the networks now, and it just grows and it grows. It's ridiculous.
I agree 100%. But the other part about that is this too, though. A lot, we heard there was friction up in New England in 19 and 18. And of course, Brady came out and Belichick came out and said, no, there's no friction. There's no friction. There was friction. There was so much so that he left the organization. So even though you have the principles saying there's no friction, doesn't mean that's true. That's just for public concern. And Brady's not going to come out and say, oh, yeah, Arians is an idiot. He was wrecking the game plans and blah, blah, blah. Not that I think that was happening, but he's not going to come out and say that. He's Mr. Cliche. So,
Well, for that report, though, I thought it was interesting that, if you believe the report, Brady had a problem with Arians coming in and changing everything after he and Leftwich would, finalize the game plan. Well, that was the same protocol as year one when they won the Super Bowl. It's not like they changed from one year to another. So to me, that argument doesn't add up at all.
Yeah, and I think, and that's semantics. Did he come in and add some things? Probably. He's the head coach. He's an offensive genius. Is he not allowed to do that?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, did he redline things and tell Tom Brady, no, you're not going to run that. You're not going to. Hell no. He didn't do that. Come on. You're going to tell Tom Brady he can't do something he wants to do? That's ridiculous. But
JP, I saw it. You saw it. The Buccaneer fans listening saw it. Nick saw it. The Saints go into Raymond James Stadium and destroy Brady and the Bucs 38-3. Maybe Tom Brady's worst game as an NFL quarterback. And then they don't lose after that game because you know why? The three of them made adjustments and they worked together. That just doesn't happen with a crew that doesn't have good chemistry. You have adversity,
right,
and you don't lose the rest of the way. I mean, I don't buy a lot of this stuff at all.
Mike Nabors joining us here. All right, you told me, or let's go to Jameis. Hearing on Jameis coming back to New Orleans because I mean he was playing well. He was about to torch the Bucs that day, I think too. What are you hearing?
Well, Jameis, I think, he was playing, to me, measured football, which I don't know if I like that with Jameis. I'd like, to me, more of a guy who's going to take some chances, but yet knows when to throw it out of bounds. I don't know if you'll ever get it from Jameis. Sean Payton was doing the best I think you could with Jameis Winston. From what I hear, Sean Payton really likes Jameis Winston, was really hurt when he was injured. Got emotional when he came into the locker room when Trevor Siemian came in against the Bucs. Boy, that seems like 30 years ago, by the way. Right. And he walked into the locker room, Superdome. But what I hear, though, is, he liked Jameis Winston but didn't love him. At times, from my sources in New Orleans tell me, it drove him crazy. But you know what? Jameis had a problem, too, because he's trying to replace Drew Brees, a guy that's basically, a family member with Sean Payton. I mean, they come in there and they revitalize not only football in New Orleans, but offensive football in the NFL. So it's hard to work with the guy after being with the Drew Brees for that long. So you not only have to replace Drew Brees, but you're Jameis Winston, who takes a lot of chances. And I remember that New England game they won last year. He threw this ball off his back foot, and it should have been a pick.
Right.
A receiver made a great play, and that play drove Payton crazy. So I'm not saying Sean Payton retired because of the prospects of having Jameis Winston or another whoever quarterback in New Orleans, but that played a part in it. I think he wasn't comfortable not having Drew Brees there, not having a guy that he knew would be a franchise quarterback moving forward. So I think it's up in the air whether he'll come back. I think the odds are that he would be the favorite to come back because really when you –
Oh, we lost him. Did you hear that? Let's see if we can get him back real quick live on the air because he was rolling. He's referring to I think it was Callaway that made that catch in the back of the end zone. And if you're Sean Payton and you've had Drew Brees your entire career, I mean, my good, that's you want it, and then you've had 1 year, with Jameis Winston and trying to replace him. It's just not fun. It's just not fun. We got him on. Mike, you there?
The message. Your call is very important to me, and I'll get right.
No, we have voicemail. He may have run out of juice right there. I want to do it one more time. Try it one more time. Because I want to definitely get into Mike was a part of the media contingent that Sean Payton took out on the town in New Orleans after his retirement from the Saints. And he obviously can't tell us all the things that happened, but he's got a few nuggets that he wanted to share. So I'll be very disappointed if we can't get him back on, because that was we talked a little bit about it off air, and very much looking forward to. No, and again, he may have had a little. No, we're not going to be able to get him back. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back on the other side. We might have Mike back, or we might move on to something else, like the Phil Mickelson controversy. Again, I think this is a lot about how it was said and where it was said, and a lot of hypocrisy here for the people that are crushing Phil Mickelson. We'll talk about that next. Homeowners, listen up. Property values have risen in the Tampa Bay area to record levels, some up to 24% in 1 year. It's time to refinance your home and pull out the equity before rates go through the roof. Call my man Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Scott believes interest rates will be over 5 very soon due to the volatile economy and inflation, but you can still lock in the mid-3s, but not for long. This means you can save tens of thousands of dollars over the life of your loan. Now, Scott is an independent broker, so he can shop your mortgage around for the best rates, and he will pay for your appraisal if you mention you heard it here on the JP Show. That's a $500 to $700 value. Scott does not charge the huge upfront fees like the big banks do. In this uncertain economy and political climate, better to have cash in hand now. So call Scott at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Hey, folks, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center, a very different kind of approach to primary care. Personalized preventive medicine, not a one-pill-fits-all mentality. Christopher Lugo and his experienced medical staff are proactive in looking at issues before they become a problem, encouraging a healthy lifestyle with proper diet, supplements, and exercise to optimize your active lifestyle. Rather than the impersonal, rushed approach, you will be the only patient and will have our full attention. That's new. Getting old is inevitable, but feeling and looking old is avoidable. Bay Area Modern Medical Centers are experts in anti-aging regenerative medicine that optimizes your body's performance in many areas. So call for an appointment to get started on a journey back to full health and a happy life with a new, modern way of healthcare. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. JP here for my friend, attorney Christopher Palermo. If you are having issues with a claim on your homeowner's insurance from a sinkhole, storm damage, water intrusion, defective stucco, and construction defects, or any other issue, Christopher is your man. These big insurance companies didn't get rich paying out what you deserve. Chris founded his practice in 2009 with a passion to help all Floridians with disputes where they were forced to take on the powerful and needed a champion in their corner. Chris wants to make sure you will receive the most aggressive and compassionate representations. He has recovered millions in settlements on behalf of his clients facing defective stucco damage and other construction issues. So call Chris, mention the JP Show, and he will give you a free consultation. That's 813-221-5636 or go to PalermoPA.com. He's a fifth-generation Tampanian graduate of Jesuit High School and the University of Florida, and he cares deeply about you and the community. That's 221-5636 or PalermoPA.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's rock.
This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back. I think Mike had a little phone issue there, and we won't be able to get him back. So we'll maybe have him back tomorrow or some other time to finish up those other stories. Really, really good stuff. So yeah, we'll try to get him on another time. Although he did say try to call him back. We got nothing. Nick. Sure, you want to give him one more try? Let's give him one more try just to finish up this. And in the meantime, while we do that, we're going to get into this Mickelson thing. If you missed it last week, this is a whole thing going on. The Super Golf League, the Saudis are backing this with literally almost four or five-fold the money that these players are making now, and they're trying to get the top 25 players to get into this golf league, which would seriously gut what the PGA Tour is doing. And Mickelson's always been a lot about the money. But in an excerpt from the upcoming book with Alan Shipnuck, he said about the Saudis, they're scary mother effers to get involved with. Alan Shipnuck is the name. Phil, the rip-roaring unauthorized biography of golf's most colorful superstar is the name of the book. Quote, they killed Washington Post reporter and U.S. resident Jamal Khashoggi. They have a horrible record on human rights. They execute people over there for being gay. Knowing all of this, why would I even consider it? Because this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to reshape how the PGA Tour operates. Now, I'll be honest with you. That's a really clunky way of so it's a no-go? No-go for Mike. Okay. We'll get him on another time. That's a really clunky way of putting it out there. But it's 100% accurate. It's 100% accurate. And of course, everybody's up in an uproar. Do you know how much business all of our major corporations do with the Saudis? Doing business with the Saudis. They know what exactly they're doing business with China, who has much worse human rights abuses. So all these companies and all these people that are ripping, including Rory McIlroy, let's look at your sponsors and see how they're embedded with China and their human rights record. We just did an Olympics in China. So, yes, what he said was clunky and obviously offended probably a lot of people. He's putting into words what everybody else is doing. They're doing business with the Saudis, and the people and the corporations that are doing it hold their nose over the human rights violations and bank all the cash from the Saudis. Same thing with China. So if you're going to criticize, at least Phil Mickelson has the balls to say it. LeBron James doesn't. He won't criticize the Saudis. He won't criticize the Chinese. He might criticize the Saudis. He won't criticize the Chinese. He'll criticize Americans and American institutions, but he won't criticize the Chinese. How is that better than what Phil Mickelson said? At least he's bringing it full throat. At least he's acknowledging it. In, yes, a very clunky way. So before all you people, jump onto your high horse and rip Mickelson, you better, Rory McIlroy, find out exactly where your money's coming from, because I think we know. And look, if you're going to get in bed with these rich people, the Chinese and the Saudis, then guess what? It's not going to look good.
The problem with him, did you see his statement from last night that he put out?
Yeah. I was just going to read some of that. Go ahead.
But the part with his statement where he kind of goes about the off-record stuff, like the problem with having off-the-record conversations that get taken out of context and posted. Like, I know that that's a very fine line in journalism. Yes. I'm aware of that. But I don't know how you can cry off the record comments after the fact. It doesn't change the fact that you made the comments on the record, agreed to it at the beginning, and now when they come out, now you're trying to cry, well, my comments were off. You weren't. You can't take back those, say, go out and you see the reaction.
Right.
And I feel like that's kind of the tone that I got out of his statement there. And, his sponsorship, his main has already dropped.
KPMG.
Him.
Yeah, which is, how much business is KPMG doing with the Saudis?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me.
What are you doing? Come on. I know what he said is clunky, but it's real. It's real. Okay. It's just I don't know. To me, this is against a lot of feigned outrage. Because Rory McIlroy, if you're so concerned about it, why are you playing in Saudi Arabia? Why are you playing in those other tournaments? Because they give you $2-3 million guaranteed money. Yeah, probably. Now, they're all taking the money, but when he actually verbalizes what's going on, he's the bad guy. I mean, am I way off base here? I mean, I understand but that's the truth of it. It's to face the truth of it. That's to me is bizarre part of it. But they, as long as we don't talk about what's going on and we don't verbalize it, it's okay to take the money. I don't get that. I just don't get it. We got Mike. Mike, are you there?
Yeah.
Oh man, sorry. We had a little technical difficulty there. I was just going over the Phil Mickelson thing. So we were in the process of. I don't know how much time you have, but we'll spend a few more minutes here.
No, I'm good.
You were talking to Jameis and his likelihood of coming back under Dennis Allen.
Yeah, I think he's the front runner right now, just because he knows the system. I think he's popular in that locker room. I think Michael Thomas will be back. Alvin Kamara, that's a whole different story there with the running game. But I think all of that weighs in his favor. And obviously Dennis Allen, is a coordinator, but he has familiarity with Jameis, and you have Taysom Hill in there as well, but he's not going to be the starting quarterback. So it's funny how we've talked about the Bucs quarterback situation. There are some parallels in New Orleans, because maybe it is smarter for the Bucs to rely on people that they know in terms of Kyle Trask and Blaine Gabbert. The same may happen in New Orleans with Jameis Winston. We'll see.
All right, so tell me about the what you can about the media party with Sean Payton that will go down in infamy.
Yeah, it's funny. Sean Payton, when he retired, which surprised a lot of people, I was kind of lukewarm with the surprise. I knew, he'd been flirting with a lot of things for a long time, but his closing press conference, JP, I mean, he talked for a half hour and then he answered questions for another hour. Wow. So he was there for a while. And part of the press conference was he apologized to the media, which I'd never heard from a head coach in a retirement press conference, on the young and dumb me didn't know how to handle the media. And I did a lot of things that I didn't, I regretted looking back. So it's funny, when he came back from Bountygate, I think he had time to reflect and, to think about the things that he was going to do better. And one of them was how he was going to treat the media. And I remember when he came back from Bountygate, we all received these gifts at Christmas. It was this big box full of Jenny's ice cream. It was like 6 pints of Jenny's ice cream. And he did it every year from 2013, and we got him this past December. And so when he retired, he reached out to Jeff Duncan, who's the lead writer in New Orleans, and then he said, I want to throw a media party for all the guys that covered me extensively in the 15 years I was here. I always got subtracted a year with Bountygate, even though it was 16.
Right.
So we had a night in New Orleans with Sean Payton, and
nice.
A lot of it's off the record. I wish I could divulge on Twitter or on your show, but I've never had a night like that with an NFL head coach where he cut loose on his opinions about us, and then we cut loose on our opinions towards him. And we talked about everything in between, and drank a lot of wine and had a great dinner. And boy, I thank him. And he was great. I think he'll go into the media. I definitely think he'll coach again. But it was a night, JP, I will never forget.
Wow. So like, take me through. Like, where did you guys go, and then how did the night progress?
Well, we went to a restaurant. I can't remember the name. It's right off of Magazine Street. It's a big street in New Orleans. A lot of great restaurants there.
Yeah.
And they rented out a room upstairs, and it was an open bar. So we had a few drinks, and then he got up and said a few things, and then we got up and it was kind of a roast of Sean Payton, because he was notorious about calling guys early in his career. And there was a reporter who writes for The Athletic, Larry Holder, and he called him NFL blanking friggin' Larry. Negative friggin' Larry was the nickname. It wasn't friggin'. Yeah. And so they joked about that, and just all kinds of stories about things that he took. And I brought up a story where Jimmy Buffett came out after they won the NFC Championship game, and he joined us. And I've never really had a chance to talk to him about that. And he said he remembered that. He gave me the backstory on that. So it was just kind of Aaron Rodgers had his cleansing. That was the New Orleans cleansing with Sean Payton. We just cleansed, all the stories, all the, supposed animosity. I mean, it was just, every market should do that, JP. It would be good. It'd be good for both sides.
Yeah, but, it's the stuff would be stuff, unfortunately, we got guys like Alan Shipnuck, I was just talking about the Mickelson thing, that just, they don't care. They'll burn people publicly. It's stuff it's kept in confidence or should have been kept in confidence. They'll put it out there. Too many of our reporters in our business do that crap. I'm not saying anybody in New Orleans would do that, but I don't know. There might be some people in Tampa that would do that. So it's it's an unusual amount of trust for Sean Payton, especially in this day and age when everybody's getting canceled. That is an unusual amount of confidence that he showed in all of you, and it would be great. I would love to sit down with Bruce and really talk about what's happened the last couple of years. I'm like, all right, Bruce, let's go. Let's what the rift. Let's go. Let's hear it. What is it? And let him fire up on Brady and and have Brady whatever. I'd love to know the real stuff that's going on because.
Absolutely. JP, I teach now, and I've been doing a lot of speaking this year, and I've been talking to a lot of groups, and I say, I don't have this disdain for the media anymore in terms of, a lot of people, the media is not the same as it used to be. I think it's better coming out than it used to be in terms of opportunities, but the trade-off is what makes it tough is what you're talking about, is we don't have the relationships we used to have,
right?
Especially now when you throw the pandemic on all of this. That we can't talk to guys one-on-one in the locker room like we used to. We don't have the relationships. I mean, the Rondé Barber relationship that you forged early on in his career, the relationship I forged with Drew Brees early in his career, it's harder to do that for young guys. Now it's harder to do it for anybody in the media, and that's a shame because that's really why I love being a reporter, because of the relationships.
Right,
and
exactly.
That's why I started my errand series where I run errands with guys. I get to have them in a car. We run errands. At least I get some one-on-one time with players. So that's just a lost art, and the pandemic's to blame, social media's to blame, technology's to blame, and that's all a shame.
Yeah, because now the players can go directly to the fans. They don't need a conduit through media, which is good and bad, in my estimation. But so many of the people in the media have brought mistrust upon our profession, and rightfully so. I mean, this journalism isn't what it used to be, and that's a whole nother discussion. Excuse me. That's cool that Peyton did that for you guys. Hey, last question for you. Oh, we haven't even gotten to the handshake line. I want to do that, but just give me a minute on where you think the Saints are right now as far as how they'll compete next year in the NFC South.
I'm doing a radio hit in Jacksonville later today, and I know they're going to ask me about Teron Armstead, and that's going to be the big question in New Orleans is he coming back? And I've got to lean towards him not coming back based on their cap situation and based on the fact that he's been hurt a lot and he's getting older. He's not going to be easy to replace at all. But I think the offensive line, they drafted Cesar Ruiz a couple of years ago in the first round, looked to be a good pick, and he hasn't delivered either.
Yeah.
So I still think the offensive line will be solid. The defense will be very good. I think the odds are that James will come back. The receiving core will be better with Michael Thomas. But the million-dollar question in New Orleans is what's going to happen with this Kamara situation. The guy way out of control at the Pro Bowl, obviously.
Yeah.
And it's troubling. It's troubling on many fronts that Alvin Kamara would put him from that position. And obviously the most important thing is treat another human being like that for calling one of his friends ugly. And so he could miss a significant amount of games. And that's going to hurt this team in a lot of ways because once it looked like offensively, if they bring Jameis back, it's year 2 in the system. They get Michael Thomas back. They'll draft some wide receivers. They'll bolster that offensive line. So I think there are a lot more questions because of Alvin Kamara, JP, and we'll just see how that plays out.
All right. It's your take on this idea that we shouldn't, since Juwan Howard and Greg Gard could control themselves as adults, that we have to get rid of the handshake line now.
It really bothers me in a lot of ways. It bothers me that those coaches would behave that way, both of them. I'm not singling one of them out. It really bothered me that both of them acted that way because, they're two good coaches. And they're coaches that, what really bothered me the most after that, besides that we'll get to the handshake thing, is that it was this trickle-down effect. You saw the coaches do it, and then you see the players start fighting. That's exactly what you don't want to happen in college sports, JP. But then, you have people like we both love Dickie V to death, and boy, I'm praying for Dickie V right now, and I love him. But the tweet he sent out about, let's remove handshakes, we just can't do that. We can't be overreactive in this situation. And on top of it, we need that in sports. We need that now more than ever.
Exactly.
And the first thing I thought of is if we get rid of handshakes, the one sport that I've always loved that they do handshakes are hockey players after a hard-fought playoff series where those guys are punching each other all game long. And you see the guys who get in the toughest of fights have these handshakes afterwards. To me, you don't see anything quite like it in sports. And I'm thinking, okay, so you're going to have college basketball get rid of the handshake, but I'm still going to watch it in a Stanley Cup final after two teams fight each other for 7 games? No, we don't do it in hockey. We don't stop it in college basketball either. We can't be overreactive in our society. It happens over and over again. And this, to me, was a tipping point. Just hearing the reaction from all this. No, we should be punishing the coaches, and we should be sending a message that this is an outlier and that most games ended handshakes and it's fine.
Right.
Let's don't get overreactive here. It's ridiculous.
I totally agree. And I hate the whole idea of when things like this happen, our first go-to is knee-jerk and lower the standards. We got to lower the standards because people can't handle a post-game handshake. I'm sorry. We need to up the standards of sportsmanship. We need to up the expectations of our kids and our coaches because everything is being degraded. All of our philosophies and our principles are just being trampled, and we don't. And it seems like this is always the knee-jerk reaction. Well, let's just get rid of it then, so because people don't know how to act. Well, evidently, 99.9% of people do know how to act in the handshake line, and it's part of to me. Kind of what you said also is that look, this is a cleansing of the game. All right. You had all this stuff that's going on, and we got to remind ourselves that it's just a game. This is not, Ukraine versus Russia here. People are not going to be dying. It's freaking hockey. It's college basketball, for God's sakes. Yes, emotions get high, but you got to keep it in perspective. It's a freaking game, bro. And if you called an extra timeout that pissed you off, get over it. You're still going to collect $2 million salary. Your kids are going to go to great schools. You're going to be safe. You live in a great life. You're coaching basketball, for God's sakes. And this is not just the Juwan Howard. It's Greg Gard as well. It's just, check yourself, bro. It's just basketball. If you can't be man enough to go give a handshake at the end of a game, well, then get out of the damn sport. You don't know. You're missing the point, in my opinion.
Well, it'd be like saying an extreme example. Let's remove chairs around coaches because Bobby Knight threw a chair across the court. Right. How many times have we seen a coach do that? Never. We've never seen a coach do that since. And really before that. And you know what? And to do big picture for you, JP, and to bring this conversation full circle, I'll bring up Teron Armstead again. Remember Drew Brees a couple of summers ago when he had the ill-advised interview, and he said that, he doesn't agree with anybody kneeling for the national anthem. He caught all kinds of flack, and a lot of his teammates criticized him on social media. You know what Teron Armstead did during that? He picked up a phone and he called Drew. Right. And he asked him, why did you say that? Mm-hmm. And they were fine. Yep. And you know what? The next day he tweeted about it. Yep. Not the other way around where he just tweeted about it without talking to Drew. That's what we need in our world now is to pick up a damn phone and call somebody if you have a problem with them. Don't hide behind Twitter, Facebook, or anything else. And you know what? That's just not sport. Right. That's me if I have a problem with you. Yes. That's our relationships. That's everything. And that's a big problem in our world right now.
Because 90% of the time it's about communication. It's about misquotes. It's about and it's like Teron was smart enough to know, look, I played ball with this guy for 10 years or whatever it is. I know he's not a racist. I know that. I know he is. So I'm not going to fire off some stupid ass tweet and blow everything up claiming that he is, because I know he's not. Something else is amiss here. Let's figure it out. Yes, that's what men do. That's what smart women do. Smart, emotionally intelligent people. That's what you do, and that's what we need more of. All right, my friend. You want to pimp anything you got going, Mr. Busy over there? The book is out. It's doing great. The Breezeway.
Book's doing well, man. Yeah, the book's doing well. I have a big book tour next week. We're going to be in Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and your old stomping grounds, Jackson, Mississippi.
Oh, yeah, baby. So, WJTV.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna go see. I'm gonna go get some JP stories at Jackson. You'll have to have me back in a couple of weeks, Nick. We'll have some good JP stories at Jackson.
Go out to the reservoir. Go out to the reservoir. There's a bar there at the reservoir. Okay. They know. And you mentioned JP, and they'll have some stories for you, no doubt.
I'm gonna back to communication. I'll communicate with the reservoir and have some good JP stories. But check out the Breezeway. It's my book on Breeze. You know what? If you're a Bucs fan, you'll like it too. Doug Flutie wrote the foreword, the story of an underdog behind the scenes. It's on Amazon. And Mike Nabors, N-A-B as in boy, MikeNabors.com.
All right, brother. Great stuff. Thanks for hanging in there. Thanks. Appreciate it. We'll talk later.
Sorry about our lack of communication, but we had good communication at the end,
right.
so that was
did.
good.
That's good. Yeah. We cleaned it all up. All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, the great Brian Bradley's going to join us, Lightning All-Star. And boys are back on the ice tonight at home. Can't wait. Stay with us. The PGA Tour's Valspar Championship is back in March in 2022, March 14th through the 20th, right in the middle of the best weather of the year and the last stop on the Florida swing. The Valspar has become one of the must-do events on the Tampa Bay sports and social calendar, so get your best tickets before they sell out. The game's biggest stars love the Copperhead course in Innisbrook. Last year, we saw Dustin Johnson, Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth. Wow, the crowds, and another star-studded field is expected again this year. Sam Burns took the title and will defend again at the Copperhead. This will be a full tournament with the return of Valspar Live, our free Saturday concert featuring Chris Young and Big and Rich, and other amenities including Chameleon Cove, the Hooters Owl's Nest, the Publix Chill Lounge, and other hospitality venues. Go to ValsparChampionship.com for tickets. The best premium hospitality areas will sell out, so don't wait. That's ValsparChampionship.com. Well, it's never been more important to support each other and support local businesses like Italiano Insurance that has been around for over 60 years, serving our community with great customer service and also giving back to our locals in need. Their Metropolitan Ministries Holiday Food Drive was another tremendous success this year. Why call a 1-800 number when you can call your trusted neighbors at Italiano Insurance who will save you money? In Boca Grande, 941-964-0400. That's 941-964-0400. And will change the financial markets as we know them. Get in the game. Get with the experts at DeFiLava.com and tell them JP sent you and get their free 2022 crypto market forecast today at DeFiLava.com. Don't get left behind, folks. Make some money at DeFiLava.com.
Pure Sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, presented by great folks at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. A different way of taking care of your personal health care. So if you're looking for a new general practitioner to take over your family medicine, Christopher Lugo and his team are the way to go. BAMMC.com is their website. It's a new way of doing preventative medicine. So don't wait till you get sick. Prevent yourself from getting sick at the Bay Area Modern Medical Center. All right, let's welcome in our good friend Brian Bradley, the Bolts leading scorer and all-star in those first few years. What's up, friend? How are you?
Hey, JP Peterson, what's going on, buddy?
I'm ready for some hockey, brother. It's been 3 weeks since we had a damn game at our barn. That's unheard of in the NHL to go that long without a home game. My goodness, and we didn't even get an Olympic tournament. I'm soured on the whole thing.
No, I'm at the morning skate right now. Just saw the Lightning skate. They look good, lots of energy, and I'm inside Amalie right now as we're talking. So
awesome.
I think the Oilers are coming on next with Conor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. So should be a good game. You know, like I said, I agree with you. It's been a long time, you know, with the Olympic break, and we had a couple of games where we beat Arizona, lost in a really good game to Colorado, then beat New Jersey. But you know what? It's going to be fun to see the boys on the ice tonight and tuned up for tonight's game against the Oilers, and then Saturday and the Winter Classic in Nashville is going to be, oh my God, outstanding.
Cannot wait for that. Hey, let's do the thing that you can't do as a player and look ahead, but we can do it. You're going to Nashville, right? I'm going. Nick's going. My co-host is going. So I've never been to an outdoor Winter Classic. Have you been to one of these games?
You know what, JP? I have not. I've watched a lot on TV over the years, but never been to a game live. You know what? I was actually in one in college. My son both my sons played at Colorado College. They played at Coors Field in Denver.
Oh, cool.
And they played, but it's not the same as a pro game, but it was actually, they did a game before the Colorado Avalanche played like a week before, but it was really fun to go to the game. But, I've never been to a pro game where, like I said, where Tampa's going to play Nashville in front of 80,000 people. And it's going to be crazy. I can't wait for the whole atmosphere and just to see what it's like.
We'll have to catch up on Broadway, go have a couple beers at Aldean's or something. Have a few drinks there in Nashville.
That sounds crazy.
Yes, let's do it. Let's do it. Teach you a little bit about country music, my friend. Well, tell me what's different about an outdoor game. I mean, obviously, you grew up playing. I'm sure you weren't out on the frozen ponds of Canada, but I'm sure you played some outdoor hockey. Just talk about the romantic part of the game. I never grew up that way, but I know it's a big part of any hockey player's life. It's kind of like going back to the sandlot for me playing baseball. For hockey players, it's outdoor hockey, right?
Yeah, it's something special. I mean, every kid, maybe not the kids today as much, but the Corey Perrys and the Stamkos and the Hedmans and the older guys who've been in the league a long time. I mean, you grew up playing outdoors. I mean, just practicing outdoors. Had a day off of school up in Canada, we'd go out and play hockey in the afternoon. We'd go out there and, the weather's 25, 22 degrees. You put your gear on. You have outdoor ponds across the street, or not on ponds. They would build these little places with nets and stuff. And, it'd be a full-size rink where we'd go play. So, I mean, just have snow coming down and, cold, January, February, we're out there skating around with your buddies from school and just playing. All you have on is you have your skates on, gloves, and a stick. And that's it. There was no helmets or nothing. So it wasn't full equipment, and you just go. Sometimes you get goalies, sometimes you hit off the post. But I mean, just the atmosphere and the whole thing about playing outdoors. It's just an amazing thing to do growing up, and to go watch a game live. I think the players are going to be excited, and it all depends on the ice. The ice is the key factor in the game.
Right.
It's going to be the same ice surfaces what the boys play here at Amalie Arena, at the NHL dimensions. But at the end of the day, when you have the factor of the wind, maybe snow. I mean, they're talking about maybe light drizzle, so hopefully that doesn't happen. But the factor is like in a sport like football coming to play, where we don't have that in hockey, where you're indoors and you play the game, and the ice can be a little bit of a factor. But we don't have wind, you don't have cold weather, you don't, skating downwind for a period or stuff. That's going to be different. And how cold is it going to be? Are you going to have to wear something on your hands? You're going to have different things and stuff like that. So you know what I mean?
Yeah. So it says, I'm looking at the weather right now. In the morning, it's going to be like 28 degrees, but then it's going to warm up to like 41 degrees at 7:00 at game time. I believe this is if this is correct. Yeah, on Saturday. And then 41. That's not bad at all. That's it for us Floridians. We won't freeze our ass off. That's good. We get a little concert from Miranda Lambert and Blaine. Blake. Was it? Dirk Bentley. So that's going to be awesome. I cannot wait.
Bentley,
Going to be fun. All right, let's talk some hockey here. The boys are back on it tonight after a 6-day break. Going to basically play 3 games in the time that Edmonton, I think, has played 8. They won 5 of their last 6 with the coaching change. It should be a very interesting game tonight, and hopefully the Lightning will come out a little faster than they have the last 2 games. What do you think?
Oh, yeah. You know what? I think the guys are well rested, ready to go. They take a period to get their legs going. I mean, the good news is they played 3 games in the break. Some teams, had to play 8, 9, 10, 12 games like Edmonton and stuff like that. So I think, we need the break. Guys will be well rested and stuff like that. But anytime you talk about the Edmonton Oilers, you talk about 2 players on their team. They got, Conor McGave and Leon Draisaitl. Those are the 2 probably close to leading scorers in the NHL right now. I haven't looked at the stats as of today, but they're unbelievable. Those guys play at such pace. I mean, Connor McDavid is the best hockey player in the NHL. I mean, there's no one even close to him. I mean, I know Draisaitl is a great player, but at the end of the day, every GM or manager or every coach would take Connor McDavid as their first pick overall. And bar none, he is the face of the NHL right now. And going forward, like the Sidney Crosby, the Ovechkin back in the day, Connor McDavid is the NHL like Wayne Gretzky or Marilyn. That's it. And he's really fun to watch. He's number 97, and he plays with such patience, such speed. It's fun to watch. He's just amazing to watch as a hockey player.
And Brad, you see these two players, and as good as they are, why did Edmonton struggle so much in the beginning of the year? Obviously, they've picked it up lately, but why are they just not as good as they should be with two guys like that?
Well, they just, you know what, the thing about it is when you talk to different players and stuff like that, championship teams are good teams that go into the well, they play good defensive hockey. And I think the Oilers just never really had great defensive hockey. They've been missing some key defensemen. They picked up Duncan Keith from Chicago, and goaltending's been questionable. That's what I think a major issue for the Edmonton Oilers is in net. They got Koskinen and Mike Smith. I like Mike Smith. Mike Smith played here for 5 or 6 years. He's a great player, but you know what? At the end of the day, he's not a Vasilevsky.
No.
I mean, you need goaltending to play in the NHL and defense too to win championships. You can't just win games 8-7 in the NHL. It's going to come and burn you. And that's the way the Oilers play. And if their goalies aren't ready to go, they get into deep trouble. Because one thing about the Oilers, they can put the puck in the net.
Yeah,
that's 100% true. They are one of the most dynamic offensive teams in the NHL. But you know what? Can their goalies hold up, or is their defense solid enough to make plays? Time will tell.
Yeah. And tonight, the Bolts should be at full strength, except for Bogosian, I think. They've got Chernak back. They've got Kucherov back. So Plot, Point, Kucherov, Killorn, Stamkos, Matthew Joseph, Maroon, Belmar, Corey Perry, Ross Colton, Cirelli, and Taylor Radish. A little bit of a different look right there. That's the projected lineup for tonight. But this is a team that's, got to get everybody back and start playing on the same page and get off the good starts. I mean, that's something that I know John Cooper is going to be looking for tonight. Start building this chemistry towards the end of the season, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, you know what? When you talk about our lineup, I think Borsuchuk's out, but everybody else is in. You know what? Yeah. Maroon, Corey Perry and Belmar have been exceptional with the young guys. And Stamkos, I think he's playing. With Killorn, and I think they got Joe in his line. So it's going to be interesting to see, obviously Braden Point, Kucherov are back. And, Kucherov needs to pick up his game. I think he's played pretty well on him and Point, but they can go to another level. So it's time to start ramping it up because the playoffs are going to start quick. And, you got to go in the playoffs off really quick. You can't just kind of, say you're going to start playing better at a certain point. You got to do it on the ice.
Yeah, no question. Do you think the Bolts make any moves at the deadline? Is there any room? Or I know they don't have a lot of cap room, and I know Julien Brisebois is pretty happy with the lineup he has right now. Like now that everybody's healthy, will they make any moves? You think?
I don't know if they do. You know what? They do. They don't have a lot of cap room. They could make a move, but you know what? Maybe they can pick up a goal scorer or something like that. Like Calgary picked up Tyler Toffoli, just a pure goal scorer. I don't think we need any physical players or toughness. I think defensively we're good. Goaltending's great. But you can always pick up maybe an older veteran that has played in the league that can score goals. You can never take that away. So for me, if I'm looking from the Lightning from the outside, I would be picking up someone that can score goals that's on the market, like a Tyler Toffoli, went from Montreal to Calgary. I mean, proven 20, 30 goal scorer in the NHL for a long time, won a Stanley Cup with LA. So, I mean, you can never replace that with young kids, but that's about it.
Right. Yeah, I think we're in good shape. And do you have any, obviously they've had a lot of rest the last couple of weeks, but now they're going to play 31 games in 60 days. I mean, that's a lot of games every other night, basically playing. And then that's, that leads into 2 months of playoffs, you hope, where you're playing every other night. That's a lot to ask. So how does that affect the team down the stretch, you think?
Yeah, for sure. It's a lot to ask. That's a lot of hockey coming up, especially when we go on these road trips in March and they have so many games in April. But yeah, it's crazy. I mean, you know what the schedule is, but you know what? It's what it is for every team. It's not just the Lightning. Every team in the NHL has a ton of games. We were fortunate that we didn't have a lot of COVID makeup teams, which is great. At the end of the day, so like look at these Oilers and some of the teams in Canada where they had to make up 10, 12 games. We had to make up 3. So at the end of the day, those guys are going to be playing like way more games than what we are over the course of this stretch.
Well, hopefully they can get it all together tonight. Like to see a very entertaining game. You got a lot of skill on the ice tonight. It's going to be fun to watch, my friend, and I will see you there.
Sounds good. Sounds good, JP. Have a good one. We'll see you at the game tonight. Go Bulls.
All right. Enjoy.
It'll be exciting.
Yes, cannot wait. Enjoy morning skate there. See, that's a hockey player going out there to watch other great hockey players just skate around. That's what that is. He wants to go to morning skate and see the Lightning skate and Dreissadel skate and Conor McDavid. And it's a great opportunity tonight. Tough ticket too. Tough ticket if you haven't noticed. I asked for a couple tickets for some friends, and I'm like, yeah, I'm still trying to get 2 more for Cooper. So I guess I'm behind him in the line. Is that how that works? Yeah. Okay. I guess I can accept that. Tough ticket tonight because everybody wants to see these two play. I honestly, I'm so much looking forward to this down the stretch. I mean, first of all, the game on Saturday. I've covered a lot of things in my day, done a lot of stuff. I've been very blessed in my career. Never done anything like this. And I get to go as a fan with my daughter. So that's even better. Looking forward to that. And I get to see a country music concert. Like, we're combining a lot of my favorite things in life. Hockey, my daughter, country music, and the Lightning. That's a good day.
There's bars everywhere too.
That's what I've heard. Yeah. So it could be a very interesting time in Nashville. You gonna go to the Grand Ole Opry?
I wanted to, but I looked at the lineup.
Lineups are never like really.
The lineups are hit or miss sometimes.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, this time
and the cost is not hit or miss.
No, it's not. That's the one consistent.
Really
thing.
Expensive.
Yeah, but I've been before, and I've done the whole experience behind and in the
I've never
dressing
done
room. That's really cool.
That's cool.
So that's cooler than the show, I think.
Yeah, just get the history of it.
Yeah, and you get to they let you stand in the circle there on stage. And
oh,
everything.
really?
Yeah.
You get the belt out a few notes?
No, you don't.
You don't get they don't let
I'm
you
sure
sing?
you could, but
not advisable
I'm
for
not,
you.
I'm not singing.
Well, I would not miss that opportunity. You know that.
I'm not singing.
Give a little Johnny Cash. Yeah. All right. We'll take a break. And when we come back, we're going to hear from John Cooper about not only the Nashville game, but this game coming up tonight. The Grand Prix is in town, by the way, this weekend. Kind of missed that because of the outdoor game, but we'll hit it all up when we come back. Stay with us. Homeowners, listen up. Property values have risen in the Tampa Bay area to record levels, some up to 24% in 1 year. It's time to refinance your home and pull out the equity before rates go through the roof. Call my man Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Scott believes interest rates will be over 5 very soon due to the volatile economy and inflation, but you can still lock in the mid-3s, but not for long. This means you can save tens of thousands of dollars over the life of your loan. Now, Scott is an independent broker, so he can shop your mortgage around for the best rates, and he will pay for your appraisal if you mention you heard it here on the JP Show. That's a $500 to $700 value. Scott does not charge the huge upfront fees like the big banks do. In this uncertain economy and political climate, better to have cash in hand now. So call Scott at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Getting old is inevitable, but feeling and looking old is avoidable. If you're feeling run down, your workout sucks, or your sexual libido is not what it used to be, check out Bay Area Modern Medical Center. That happened to me a few years ago, and I found out I had the testosterone level of a grade girl. That's not good. Our food, environment, and stress can cause your T levels to drop. Bay Area Modern Medical Center can help, and they are different. They offer customized hormone replacement for both men and women. Christopher Lugo and his medical staff can help you restore your energy, your sex drive, and your feelings of well-being. It was a total game changer for me. I have way more energy, lost 30 pounds, and I'm performing better in all areas of my life. Nobody wants to talk about sexual health, but it's key to a balanced life. We offer discreet treatments with real-world results. So if you're suffering from a lack of interest in sex, ED, or lack of sexual stamina, Dr. Lugo and his staff can help. Take your health care to the next level at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. The PGA Tour's Valspar Championship is back in March in 2022, March 14th through the 20th, right in the middle of the best weather of the year and the last stop on the Florida Swing. The Valspar has become one of the must-do events on the Tampa Bay sports and social calendar, so get your best tickets before they sell out. The game's biggest stars love the Copperhead course in Innisbrook. Last year, we saw Dustin Johnson, Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth wow the crowds, and another star-studded field is expected again this year. Sam Burns took the title and will defend again at the Copperhead. This will be a full tournament with the return of Valspar Live, our free Saturday concert featuring Chris Young and Big and Rich, and other amenities including Chameleon Cove, the Hooters Owl's Nest, the Publix Chill Lounge, and other hospitality venues. Go to ValsparChampionship.com for tickets. The best premium hospitality areas will sell out, so don't wait. That's ValsparChampionship.com. JP here for my friend, attorney Christopher Palermo. If you are having issues with a claim on your homeowner's insurance from a sinkhole, storm damage, water intrusion, defective stucco, and construction defects, or any other issue, Christopher is your man. These big insurance companies didn't get rich paying out what you deserve. Chris founded his practice in 2009 with a passion to help all Floridians with disputes where they were forced to take on the powerful and needed a champion in their corner. Chris wants to make sure you will receive the most aggressive and compassionate representations. He has recovered millions in settlements on behalf of his clients facing defective stucco damage and other construction issues. So call Chris, mention the JP Show, and he will give you a free consultation. That's 813-221-5636, or go to PalermoPA.com. He's a fifth-generation Tampanian graduate of Jesuit High School and the University of Florida, and he cares deeply about you and the community. That's 221-5636 or PalermoPA.com.
Are you selling your home or refinancing? JP here for Greenleaf Title. You choose the title company, not the realtor, and it makes a difference. You want a reputable company that will make sure your title is safe and secure. There are a lot of scammers out there right now. So go with a trusted company like Greenleaf Title. Plus, they will close anywhere, folks, and they will send a limo to pick you up to come to the closing. Yep, the great JP Limo Closing is back. All you got to do is give them a call at 727-258-6005 or go to greenleaftitle.com. We'll set up the limo for you. They'll come pick you up. Heck, we even picked up one couple, took them to Black Rock Restaurant, one of our favorite advertisers, and then to the closing. That's how they do it at Greenleaf Title. Great service. We'll close anywhere. The lowest fees in the business. 727-258-6005 or go to greenleaftitle.com. That's greenleaftitle.com.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the second hour, the Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Christopher Lugo and his medical team will take care of you. If you are interested in testosterone replacement, I highly recommend it. Go in and see what your levels are. And if you're looking for a new primary care physician, he is open and taking new patients, which is hard to find these days. And I can tell you it is a tremendous – I had lunch with Christopher the other day. Very, very intriguing and knowledgeable man, works with the military, has some definite opinions and fact-based opinions, science-based opinions on COVID and how everything's been handled. So we're going to get him on the show soon to chat about all that and how he can help you in your battle for if you're a little bit overweight, if you're want to get in shape, you just want to feel better. There's so many great things out there right now. And a lot of it is about personal medicine, folks. Getting, they'll give you these tests to find out what foods you're allergic to, find out what workout is best for you. Everybody is different, and everything should be personalized in terms of medicine. And that's the approach they take. It's very different and it's very effective. So find out more at BAMMC.com. If you've just been going to your general doctor and they don't spend a whole lot of time with you, it's kind of the same old, you don't really feel like they're listening to you. It's different at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. So try, check it out. Go to the website, BAMMC.com, and call them up, make an appointment. Tell them JP sent you. All right. I wanted to get to a couple other stories today. By the way, the Grand Prix starting up this weekend. Obviously, we will be gone in Nashville this weekend. But if you don't have anything to do, highly recommend it. It's one of the great events we have here. Helios Castroneves, three-time winner of the Grand Prix, is back. He's been without a ride for a couple of years, with a four-time Indy 500 champion. Won the Indy last year. Is back in the mix. Colton Herta, who is a local resident, lives in Bel Air, had 3 wins last year, and including the Grand Prix, so he'll be another favorite. Jimmy Johnson still is driving in IndyCar for his 2nd straight year. Did not have a whole lot of success last year. In fact, wrecked twice in this event and finished 17th, but he'll be back. It's interesting. You could dominate NASCAR, but get into an IndyCar, and it's a totally different deal. How about that? I think that's extremely interesting. The different disciplines of racing, different cars, different ways of doing it. You can be a great race car driver in one discipline and have no clue in the other. It just takes time, but he'll figure it out. He's too good of a racer, but so he'll be in the field as well. And it's a great social event. It's just tremendous. It's great for the eyes, great for the ears. You smell the rubber burning. It's a fantastic event, but many times. So if you're looking for something to do this weekend, check that out. Get the tickets online at the St. Pete Firestone Grand Prix.com, I think it is. Or just Google it. You'll find it. All right, we talked a little bit about the Bolts, but we haven't heard from Coach Cooper. So Coop talked to the media yesterday, and this game tonight against Edmonton is a big game. They haven't played in a while, but of course, all the fans and the media want to talk about is Nashville, and obviously for the coach, he's got to keep it. He's got to keep it on point. So let's listen into John Cooper now talk a little bit about tonight's game and the off time and heading to Nashville.
When you have a break like you did last weekend, do you shut it off as a coach? Are you able to or do you at all do any prep or anything, or reevaluating stuff, or are you just able to take that whole time off as a coach and just shut it down?
Yeah. I don't know if you ever truly shut it down, but I didn't open my computer. I'll tell you that. It was actually a fun couple of days because due to restrictions, not everybody's had their day with the cup. So it just happened that a few people had their days. So I got to spend a little time with the Stanley Cup. That's always a treat. But no, when you have a couple days in advance of a game, there's no reason to deep dive. Taking a step away from them, I think, good for everybody. For a couple days, I had to do it. It was great.
You go to Triathlon, or you go to Paris for that? Or?
Oh yeah, I went. That was a fun one. I haven't been back there since. Gosh, I think we had training camp there when I was with the Bandits. So it's been a while. So it was great to see some people, and happy for Gard. Been waiting a long time for that. So it was a lot of fun.
When you do have these type of gaps, like when the guys come back, what do you look for to see where they're at, and maybe how much you need to get back to?
Well, it's hard to judge because I look at a practice today where guys were just flying, and we hope that would bring that energy tomorrow night. The troubling thing's been we didn't, Colorado, that first 10 minutes was a little eye-opening for us, and even New Jersey, we had a stale first period. I can go back as far as Montreal, the first game after that break. We weren't on top of our game, so. And we're batting 0 for 3 right now. Hopefully we can hit one out of the park tomorrow and have a good. But it's hard to tell because the guys are looking good now, but it's way different when you get in the game, and it's hard to be on the guys because you get 5 or 6 days off. You want the guys to take off. You don't want them sitting around thinking about hockey, and so that's the point of having some of these breaks is to heal. The tough part is when you come out of them, there can be a little bit of a find yourself time, and especially playing against a team that has been playing the whole time. So they're in their rhythm. We aren't. So we'll have to be cognizant of that tomorrow night, especially early.
So I understand the rhythm and everything like that, a full season and practice day off, day, all that stuff. Why is it when there's just 2 days off, and guys their skates just don't seem to be under them?
It's one of those sports that you just don't use the muscles and the hockey muscles you do in just regular life. And so you take a little bit of time off, rust will set in, and it's that muscle memory of you're going every day or every second day, whatever it is, you're on top of things. The thing for me though is it's healing the wounds and, those just kind of bumps and bruises that just nag and stay with you and wear you down. That's what I like about the break. And, you don't want to see it sacrifice points and games. And, we've, as a group here, we rallied and won some of these games we needed to. But in the long run, like after the outdoor game, I think we're playing, 31 games in 60 days.
Yep.
That is a boatload of hockey. And so, hoping a little break like this will help us for that stretch.
With Reddish, with Cirelli, he's going to get some tougher matchups scenario when you're with him. You put him in matchups against other two top lines early in the season, like bit by bit. What's the process of coach when you have a rookie, how to break them into that situation where it seemed like he was able to play in spots against some of those guys?
Yeah, well, it's consistency. And sometimes he's been fantastic in it, and sometimes he's struggled in it. And what are you going to expect from a kid that's played 40 NHL games? There's going to be ups and downs. The one thing is he's shown promise. He's improved. We've put him in some situations like this, and he's done a heck of a job. He's starting to PK a little bit for us, and those are situations you need when you need to shut down games. You need to see if guys can do it. And Ratty's, he just keeps taking steps forward in that regard, and he'll get more and more responsibility because of that.
As a coach, when you're rather have the best players, of course, rather have an elite team coaching versus maybe rebuilding one. But what are some of the different challenges of maintaining a certain level, like a championship level of a team that maybe somewhat challenging than you're like rebuilding a team in a program?
Well, the difference is you've been there before. And so you know how to navigate the waters, whether you're playing well, whether you're not playing well. I think maybe earlier in my career, we've always got your foot in the gas the whole time. And I'm not saying you don't, as in the last couple of years we haven't, but you kind of know when to push the guys and when not to. And that's a balance of just being there before. It's as simple as that. And you want to put your team in the best position to succeed. And sometimes that's taking foot off the gas. And I think probably as a staff and myself, we've learned that over the years.
John Cooper, yesterday's media opportunity. I think that last answer there is very, it's very telling. And situations like this have weird schedules. For Coop, they've been through it. They know how to handle it. And, I think a lot of coaches would have been probably tempted to have more practices or whatnot. I think Cooper's like, no, we're going to have to play a lot of hockey. The rest is going to be better for these guys. And he's doing that with an educated voice. He's been through this and knows exactly what's best. They've won Stanley Cups, obviously. So that's what, having great experienced coaches is about. All right. Well, do we need to take a final break here? Are we good to go? Yeah, we're good to go. All right. I want to get into this story. It's Brian Flores' story. He's doing an interview with Brian Gumbel, actually done the interview with his attorneys. They released some of the excerpts of it. But this is, again, the Dolphins and Brian Flores. It's kind of like he said, she said, except Brian Flores has the actual documents to prove it. So the latest dust up is that, and by the way, this is true sacrifice from Brian Flores. Stephen Ross, and this is typically how major corporations react, by the way. When I left 620, they, in order to get your severance, the final 2 years on his contract, Brian Flores, you have to sign a non-disclosure agreement. And that means you can't talk disparagingly about your former employer. You can't reveal any trade secrets, et cetera, et cetera. You can't sue the company. And obviously, Brian Flores had other ideas. So he did not sign the MDA. And he did not get the final 2 years on his contract, which I'm guessing was probably, I don't know, $8 to $10 million. I'm not exactly sure how much he was making, but it got to be $8 to $10 million. So he could speak out and sue the league. Now, I know everybody wants to make Colin Kaepernick a martyr. He had plenty of opportunities to come back and play and didn't want to play. because he wanted everything under his what he wanted, the money he wanted. It wasn't just for the opportunity, like this whole false narrative talks about, that he was kept from playing. That's not true. Most of that was on his own part. He was offered a job by John Elway in the Broncos and said it wasn't enough money. So this is Brian Flores foregoing 10 or at least probably $8 to $10 million to not sign this NDA. And of course, the Dolphins came out and said that's absolutely untrue. And then his attorneys put out the contract and showed exactly where it is. They tweeted it out in response to the Dolphins calling Brian Flores' assertion of an NDA categorically false. Below are screenshots from the draft agreement and payment nation notice. If Brian Flores signed this, he would have been gagged and unable to talk about his experience or sue the league, which he's doing more for others than himself, obviously. That's true sacrifice in a cause, not what Colin Kaepernick did, who got $50 million from the NFL and a private tryout that he refused to do. So Brian Flores is the one that is really taken in here and really making a huge, huge sacrifice. I think if he had not sued the league, he probably would have gotten a job, which is unfair. It's unfair. He would have gotten a head coaching job, and he'll hopefully get one again. I think he will. I think this is a way different situation than Kaepernick, and this is again, this is Stephen Ross calling him a liar, and then like he did with the assertion that he offered Brian Flores money to throw games. And this is, once again, Stephen Ross calling Brian Flores a liar, except this time they had the actual proof and the screenshots to prove it. So what's your response to that, Stephen Ross? And again, who are we going to believe in this back and forth? I'm going to believe Brian Flores. That's what I'm going to believe. So, and I'll be very interested to see this interview that comes out. There's a little bit of a transcript from it here. They're talking about how much money, and he said, how much money did we want to leave it on the table by choosing not to sign that agreement? Brian Flores says, a lot. A good amount, a lot of money. What's a good amount? The attorney says it was millions of dollars. The other attorney says it was 2 years. It was 2 years. It was a contract, and Coach Flores' credit, he wasn't going to sign that because it wasn't about the money. If it was about the money, he would have signed it. What he didn't said was he filed a lawsuit so he could help other coaches now and in the future. So again, Brian Flores taking the high road, Stephen Ross being in the gutter with this particular story. He's going to win a lot of money from the NFL. They're going to settle for a lot of money, maybe more than Kaepernick got. So maybe in the end it will be about the money, but at least I think he's going about it the right way. Here's a little tidbit on the Rays' new stadium. Brightline and FDOT complete negotiations on I-4 access for the Tampa-Orlando route. This is a big hurdle that they've been trying to get over to get this Orlando to Tampa train down the middle of I-4 going, the Brightline. And I think it would be a huge, huge boon for both cities, to be quite honest, and also for the stadium, because the proposed drop-off for the Tampa station is right in front of where the stadium would be. So I would think that you would gain a ton. I mean, you could think of all the people that are visiting Orlando. What is it, 22 million a year, UCF grad over there? Whatever, some ridiculous amount that come to Orlando every year for Disney. They take in a baseball game. They don't need a rental car. They can just jump on that train, come to Tampa. Actually, I believe the route's going to go. I don't know if they're working on taking it to downtown St. Pete as well. But they could come to downtown Tampa and take in a baseball game. It's going to drop them right off the front. That's a big deal. A lot of these, obviously baseball stadiums that are in urban areas, it's one of the reasons they benefit from mass transit that, of course, we've never had in St. Petersburg and probably never will in downtown St. Petersburg. So another reason for the stadium to be in Ybor and not somewhere else. I saw this last night, and in the wake of what's going on with Leah Thomas, and I hope this gets some traction, this idea that I had to level the playing field with transgender athletes. If we can't have completely separate leagues for them, separate events for them, then this might be another way of doing it, because I think I'm not exactly sure what the number is, but there's obviously a percentage that men's times are faster than women's on average. whether it's 20%, 30%, 15%, whatever it is, whatever that number is, and there's obviously tons of data to accrue to that number, especially at that level of swimming, then you could just take that number, and if it's 20%, then he has to wait on the block. Sorry, she has to wait on the blocks 20% longer before she can dive into the pool. That would be fair to me. You have empirical data that you're working with instead of monkeying around with testosterone levels when clearly Leah Thomas already has the body of a full-grown man, which is a huge advantage, and why she's crushing these records. Then why not level the playing field? That seems like a much easier way to go about this. And I saw an ad last night on I think it was an Adidas ad that was running in SportsCenter celebrating a transgender woman spiking on women, real women that have been playing all their lives a certain sport and now have to face off against bigger, more powerful biological men. And now we're celebrating that in an ad by Adidas. I don't get that. As much as we want to celebrate and things and be inclusive for transgender athletes, we're not asking the question of how this is destroying women's sports, which is, it's always been a quote minority and something that we're supposed to champion, and we should be championing. So as much as I know this has an era of, okay, you're being transphobic. No, we're speaking up courageously about a wrong, about how an entire gender, a massive amount more people are being disenfranchised by this. And to make it more mainstream and to normalize what Leah Thomas is doing, I don't think serves the majority of people. And there has to be a better way. There just has to be a better way in my estimation. All right, what else did we miss today? Oh, the Bandits. We didn't talk specifically about the Bandits. Your beat over here, Nick. So Jordan Ta'amu is our new quarterback.
Yeah, Jordan Ta'amu is our quarterback. For those of you who don't know, he was at Ole Miss for 2 seasons in 2017-28. He was the second leading passer in the SEC behind Tua Tagovailoa that year.
Played in the XFL.
And he was, besides P.J. Walker, probably the best player in the league.
Of course, P.J. played in the NFL.
Yeah, for St. Louis Battlehawks, and Ta'amu's been on a few. He's had a cup of coffee in the NFL as a backup and things.
So Todd Haley is our coach, and the rest of the guys that were drafted, we don't know who they are. By the way, these games are all going to be played in Birmingham the first year. No games at Raymond James.
You know John Franklin III, right?
Yes.
He got drafted today by the Bandits. So.
Good.
Some familiar faces there.
Does he have a COVID card? I think he does. Is he going to face a suspension? We can come back to that. That's what ruined the Bucs season. That's what ruined the whole Bucs season. That's when AB went sideways. Who can we blame for that? Not Rick Stroud. That's not what I'm saying. We're not blaming the journalist. You blame Antonio Brown. Though many of you do want to blame Rick. That's not fair. Do not do that. All right. Our thanks to Mike Nabors, who joined us today. It's fun stories there about the media party with Sean Payton and Brian Bradley as well. If you missed anything, go check it out on our app, FanStream Sports. Download it. Also subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcast as well. And we'll see you tomorrow with Thursday show. See you then.